You ever think about how different things used to feel? Not just the world, but the way we celebrated it. Back then, holidays weren't about shopping carts and social media. They were about people, neighbors, family, food made from scratch. Some of the traditions we used to hold close have slowly slipped away, quietly, gently, like fading handwriting in an old cookbook. Today, we're taking a gentle walk back in time to remember 10 American holidays and traditions that once brought us together and have now mostly disappeared. 1. Decoration Day. Flowers, silence, and remembering. Long before Memorial Day meant hot dogs and sales, it was called Decoration Day. Families dressed in their Sunday best visited graves with armfuls of flowers and sat quietly for a while. Kids held little flags. Churches rang their bells. There were no fireworks, just soft voices and a sense of respect. It started after the Civil War, and for many families, it was personal. But over time, it changed and the name changed with it. And that quiet, meaningful pause in our busy lives, we don't take it as often anymore. 2. May Day. Baskets on doorsteps and ribbons in the wind. May 1st used to be a little magical. Kids made tiny flower baskets and secretly left them on neighbors' doorknobs. Schools set up tall poles wrapped with ribbons, and children danced around them in circles, laughing. It was a simple way to welcome spring, to remind each other that brighter days were ahead. But the world sped up. Cities grew taller. Porches grew quieter, and May Day quietly faded away. Most kids today have never even heard of it. 3. Armistice Day, when the whole world stopped. At exactly 11 a.m. on November 11th, everything stopped. People stood still. Hats came off. Churches rang their bells. Armistice Day marked the end of World War I, what they called the war to end all wars. And for a moment, it felt like peace really had a chance. Years later, the name was changed to Veterans Day to honor all who served. And rightly so. But that quiet moment, when even factories paused, that part didn't make the transition. 4. Box suppers, a date in a lunchbox. In small towns across America, there used to be something called a box supper. Women would make a meal, tuck it into a decorated box, and bring it to the local school or church. The men would bid blindly, not knowing who made which box. The winning bidder got to share the meal with the cook. Sometimes that's all it was. Sometimes it was how love stories began. These days we swipe, but there was something sweet about taking a chance on pie and mystery. 5. Flag Day, the other patriotic holiday. Every June 14th, kids used to wave paper flags and sing songs about stars and stripes. Flag Day was meant to celebrate the birth of the American flag, and in many schools and towns, it was a big deal. There were parades, ceremonies, sometimes even fireworks. But it never became a federal holiday, and as the 4th of July grew bigger, Flag Day got a little lost in the shuffle. Still, somewhere in a dusty drawer, there's a child's crayon draw a flag, proudly handed to a teacher. 6. Apple butter stir-offs, fall in a kettle. If you ever went to one, you'll never forget it. Apple butter stir-offs were a tradition in parts of the Midwest and Appalachia. Families gathered early in the morning. Apples were peeled, cinnamon was added, and giant kettles were stirred with big wooden paddles, sometimes for hours. Kids played nearby, folks sang old songs, and the smell wrapped around you like a hug. Now, apple butter comes in jars on shelves, but it's missing the smoke, the stories, and the hand that made it. 7. Sunday drives. No map, no rush. There was a time when Sunday wasn't for errands or emails. It was for driving. After church, families would hop in the car and just go. Nowhere in particular. Just country roads, rolled down windows, and maybe a stop for root beer floats. It wasn't about the destination. It was about being together, no distractions. These days, Sunday feels busier than Monday. But some of us still remember those drives and the peace they carried. 8. Saints' Name Days, a little celebration just for you. For many families, especially Catholic or Orthodox, your name wasn't just your name, it was your saint. And that saint had a feast day. And on that day, you got a little extra love. A homemade cake, a hug from grandma, maybe a candle lit just for you. Over time, the tradition faded. Life got louder. But for those who still remember, Saints' days were quiet, gentle celebrations of who you were, just because of your name. 9. Harvest home suppers, one big table. Before Thanksgiving became what it is now, there were harvest home suppers. Churches, barns, or town halls filled with long tables and steaming dishes. Everyone brought something. Everyone sat elbow to elbow. There were prayers, songs, pie, and a deep, shared thankfulness of the land and the people around it. Now we rush, we order, we scroll. But oh, to sit at one of those tables again. 10. Mischief Night, a little trouble, a lot of laughs. October 30th had its own name, Mischief Night. It was a chance for kids to blow off steam before Halloween, ringing doorbells and running, swapping porch furniture, maybe toilet paper in a tree or two. It was harmless fun. A little mischief, sure, but nothing mean. Over time, things changed. Some kids took it too far. Some neighborhoods cracked down, and the night of light-hearted pranks disappeared. But if you were one of those kids laughing under the moonlight, you still remember. These old holidays and traditions, some big, some small, were more than just dates on a calendar. They were moments, feelings, little rituals that made life richer. Somewhere out there, someone still remembers them. Maybe that someone is you. So, do any of these ring a bell? Did your town have a tradition we missed? Drop a comment and share your memories. And if you enjoyed this look back at the things we've left behind, go ahead and subscribe. We've got more stories to tell. Thanks for watching Old Soul America, where we keep the past alive, one memory at a time.